I am Senator Perslea of the planet Bothoe. For 13 years, I held the honor of being Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic, and was known and respected by all the denizens of this great civilization. Yes, I was an unremarkable being, and a far more passive politician than I'd hoped to be. But I held the peace. After millennia of civil war and conquest, I introduced the galaxy to a decade of reflection. While the surface seemed calm, darkness stirred in the shadows. Recently, a humanocentric cult called the Pius Dea successfully overthrew my government and convinced the Galactic Senate to impeach me. I have no doubt that they will not stop until the entire galaxy is theirs, and I fear that the Republic is in no state to stop them. May the Force be with us. Cultist I was sworn in as the Supreme Chancellor in 11,987 BBY, following the impeachment and assassination of Chancellor Perslea. Immediately, he restructured the government to centralize the Republic's economic and military power directly into the hands of the Pius Dea, and set the precedent of purging any official who refused to convert. His policies ostracized the non-human communities of the galaxy as unbelievers, and backed by the Pius Dea and already existing interspecies tensions, he gained increasingly more following. Then, after 12 years of preparation, Cultist I threw the Galactic Republic into war. Thus began the Pius Dea Crusades, in a millennium of blood and devastation. Here we stand, at the extremity of our exertion, having cast behind the idols of our fathers, to once again carry to our foe the penalties due their sacrilege. Come perdition or hard vacuum, the Republic expects that every citizen will do his duty. With the full might of the Republic behind him, Cultist I turned his sights towards the Hutts. For 70 years, the Republic waged war with the Hutts, leaving only bodies and broken will on their warpath. By 11,920 BBY, the Jedi Order had officially withdrawn its support from the Republic, retreating to the Academy world of Osis, where it lay dormant for centuries, unable to help the billions in danger from a galaxy consumed by fanaticism and bloodthirst. But most horrific of all was the rationale given by the Pius Dea for all this death and destruction. The goddess wills it. But by the 10th Pius Dea Crusade, the goals of the now completely theocratic Republic had changed. Where military expansionism and religious zeal once stood, a simple and unadulterated lust for alien blood now took its place. Entire species were deemed irredeemable and destroyed. Their worlds were bombarded into dust and their people and culture completely eliminated. Among humans, alien sympathizers or non-believers were rounded up and killed. For almost 800 years, the Pius Dea's reign of genocide swept unchecked across the galaxy. Then, shortly after the beginning of the Pius Dea Inquisition, the Ka'amasi were able to convince the Jedi to come out of hiding. In secret, the Jedi Order gathered followers from all over the Republic, including the Ka'amasi who had initially made contact with them, as well as the Duros, Hergliks, Hutts, and Alkasani. The Alkasani particularly provided an incredible surge of sustenance to the still fledgling alliance. A wealthy and powerful planet, Alsaken had long competed with Coruscant for dominance over the core worlds, and although they had never been the closest allies of the Jedi, they realized the importance of ridding the galaxy of the Pius Dea and their self-destructive policies. Then, with half the galaxy behind them, the Jedi militarized. Admiral Perce Perdue was a man of honor. He had served the Republic Navy for nearly 3 decades, battling his way up to the rank of Admiral. His service record was impeccable, and no officer would dare say he was an incompetent or lacking leader. He could often see the glint in the eyes of new recruits as they regarded his 2-tiered red and blue rank plaque, the ambition, the admiration, and the respect. Once he had relished those looks and hoped the best for each subsequent year of trainees. But now, as this year's batch of recruits filed in, his heart filled only with sorrow. Many of them were barely of age, young enough to be his son or daughter. And they had no idea of the violence and destruction they would be forced to inflict in the years to come, of the moral deprivation they would suffer. Again, he saw it in their eyes, that look of hopefulness and wanton excitement. For the first time in his decorated career, he wanted to hide. In 10,970 BBY, Admiral Perce Perdue, a leader of the Pius Dea army and a respected and valued individual, deserted. Guided by the Jedi and other Alliance forces, he discovered the hidden colony of Pressfield IV. Here, Republic citizens fleeing the iron rule of the Pius Dea had found refuge. And under the leadership of Admiral Perce Perdue, militarized into the Renunciate army, a match had been struck, a flame of hope kindled. Now, thrown into a sea of blood, death, and destruction, they would have to see if it went out, or ignited into an inferno. When the Renunciates announced themselves to the galaxy in 10,967 BBY, just 3 years after Admiral Perce Perdue had deserted the Pius Dea Republic, they realized that the fates of the entire galaxy rested on the results of the upcoming conflict. Beginning with skirmishes around small planets, ordnance depots, and shipyards, the conflict soon exploded into a galaxy-wide war. The first major blow to the Pius Dea came when much of the Republic Navy, following the steps of their esteemed admiral, defected and joined the Renunciate forces. Nonetheless, the war raged on as heavily as ever. Even with the loss of the Republic Navy, the Pius Dea still had a fleet of cathedral ships, gargantuan mobile battle stations to rely on. After a year of conflict, the war finally came to an end at the Battle of Caen. Historically, the Bureau of Ships and Services abandoned their prized neutrality and agreed to assist the Renunciate forces in ending the Pius Dea threat once and for all. When the remaining Pius Dea forces gathered above Caen, they were ambushed by the combined might of Renunciate and Jedi forces. And as the Pius Dea attempted to flee, the Bureau of Ships and Services released a signal which scrambled their navicomputers and placed the ships into permanent lockdown. More than half the fleet instantly disappeared into deep space and were never found. The remaining ships, now heavily outnumbered, were easily dispatched. A strike team of Jedi personally boarded the Flame of Synthara and captured Contispex the 29th. He was subsequently tried for crimes against the galaxy and imprisoned for life on Cal Mas. Thus, the millennium-long reign of the Pius Dea ended, utterly consumed by many lifetimes' worth of justice and hope. In the aftermath of what became known as the Seventh Alsacian Conflict, Jedi Grandmaster Beeld Octavius took the post of the next Supreme Chancellor. Under his leadership, the Republic flourished, and interspecies relations improved to the point that sometime in the future, a Hutt even became Supreme Chancellor. Blotus the Hutt served a 275-year term and is remembered to this day as one of the finest Supreme Chancellors in Republic history. Perce Pradeaux, once again an admiral of the Republic Navy, played an essential role in rebuilding the organization and instilling within it the values of honor and integrity that had guided his path to this point. Under his supervision, the Navy grew into one of the galaxy's most respected institutions, and he became known as the father of the Republic Navy. Even when Palpatine's Galactic Empire was consolidated, the Imperial Navy paid homage to Pradeaux, naming a Star Destroyer after the legendary admiral. The legendary tale of the Pius Dea displays a recurring theme in the Star Wars mythos, that the darkest hour of the night comes just before the dawn, that it is an indelible truth that in a time of terror, when the galaxy reaches its lowest point, somewhere, in the unlikeliest of places, a spark of hope appears.